explain yourself again and your situation, letting them know this is the 10th time my cable has gone out. Why can't you people just fix it? And the lady on the other end of the phone, who is really hard to understand, says, I'm sorry, ma'am. I need to transfer you to somebody else that can help you with this. The third transfer. And you blow up. You give that lady on the other end of the phone your peace of mind. You tell her exactly what's on your mind and you blow up at her. And then she puts you on pause, on hold, because she needs to transfer you to the new person so you can tell your story all over again. And while she has you on hold, you're thinking, why am I reacting this way? Why is this upsetting me so incredibly much? I've done that, and I'm sure there's lots of other people that have done that. But what I want to share with you today and show you is how you can stop reacting that way, how you can stop overreacting and reset that automatic brain response that happens when you get set off like that so that you can stop overreacting because it's not out of anger, it's out of automation basically because our brains are wired and have been wired to respond that way for however long. So I'm going to show you today how you can reset that automatic part of your brain so that you stop overreacting. Before I do that, if you're new here, hi, I'm Christine, and I help women rediscover happiness so that they can build a life they don't need to escape from. Now, it's important to understand why our brains react the way they do when situations like that happen. It starts in the center part of our brain called the basal ganglia. It's the tiny little part in the center of our brains that helps store our habits and our emotional responses to things. And that part of our brain actually helps you operate without even thinking. It's kind of like when you are driving and you've been driving for a while and all of a sudden you end up at your destination and you think, whoa, how did I get here? I don't even remember the drive. It's kind of like that. That's that part of our brain that does that automatically for us. But what it also stores, like I said, is our emotional reactions. So if we've reacted that way in the past, that is an automatic response that has been stored in that part of our brain. And it causes us to get defensive. And it causes us to have these what seem to be anger patterns pop up, or patterns where we shut down emotionally because that's how we've responded in the past. So that's what that part of the brain does for us. It automates our life in a sense so that we don't have to think about how to react or respond. Our brains are very, very efficient. Very efficient. The problem is that part of the brain doesn't ask if this reaction is helpful for you or not. It asks if it's familiar. And if it's a familiar response, if it's a familiar reaction, it's going to continue to do that. Your brain is going to choose what's familiar over what's functional every single time. And it's kind of information biased. And if it would be helpful for you to understand this process better, to be able to benefit you, I want you to type helpful in the comments. I'm going to share that with you also, but I want you to type helpful in the comments if you think it would be helpful to know exactly why that happens in our brains. it's it's a habit loop, basically, and these habit loops are circling around that basal ganglia, that automatic response that lives inside of each and every one of us. And these habit loops are capturing all this information that gets thrown at us. And it's like, oh, that one looks familiar. We got to send that down to the automatic part of the brain so that we can automatically respond or react the way that we have been, which leads to feeling powerful if we react out of anger, if we react out of ways that we really don't want to be reacting, it helps us feel powerful, like we're in control of the situation. Like like we are right. And it helps it helps you avoid being vulnerable. It helps you avoid being hurt. It's what these habit loops are all doing by capturing all these senses and everything that goes on. And if you don't learn how to interrupt that habit loop, that loop is going to continue to run your life. It's going to continue to trigger that part of your brain that is going to overreact every single time. And it's not that you necessarily want to, it's just that's what you've learned over time. So that's what your brain recognizes as being familiar. But there's a way that you can do this. There's a way that you can break that loop and start forming new habit loops that are going to support you not wanting to overreact anymore. And I'm going to share that with you now. It's I like to call it the reset method. The first thing you want to do when that situation occurs, when you have your daughter come sit next to you and she's showing you something that is really, really bothersome to you, and you really want to give your feedback on it, this is what you're going to do. You're going to use the reset method. You're going to stop and step back. Physically pause, physically remove yourself from the room if you need to give yourself space to be able to step back. That's the first step. And I'm going to tell you this process that I'm sharing is going to take practice and consistency. It's kind of like when you're getting into a new routine. I usually go for my workout right away when I get up in the morning, and then I go for a walk, and then I go take care of the chores and feed the animals. Well, this morning we went on our walk first because we were trying to catch the lunar eclipse. So we went on our walk first, and then I fed the horses. And then I came in and did my workout. And it was really weird for me because that wasn't the habit that I'm used to doing. That's not the thing that I was used to doing. So it felt really weird. So when you start using this reset method, it's going to feel strange because it's not familiar to you until you get more consistent with it. And then it is going to get familiar and it's going to allow you to reroute those habit loops in your brain. So, step one, when something feels like it's going to trigger you and set you off, step back so that you can pause and create space. Pull yourself out of that room if you need to. The next step is breathing. And it's kind of like the box method, but not. You're going to breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds. You're going to hold that breath for 5 seconds. And then you're going to exhale through your mouth like you're breathing through a straw or blowing a candle out for 7 seconds. So breathe in through your nose for 5 seconds, pause and hold that breath for 5 seconds, and then breathe out through your mouth for 7 seconds. Do this at least 3 to 5 times. What this does is it helps calm your body. and get it into a more relaxed state, which ultimately regulates your nervous system and shifts you out of that survival mode that you are about to get into when you overreact. That's putting you into a survival mode. Then, step three, after you've stepped back, you've done your breath for 3 to 5 rounds. You're going to practice gratitude. This is the actual rewiring piece. And why gratitude is because it activates different neural pathways in your brain. It not only activates those neural pathways, it lowers cortisol, which cortisol is a stress hormone. And it helps to interrupt this stress pattern. These loops, these loops that are familiar to your brain, it helps interrupt those so that you can start building a new emotional, healthy emotional pathway to that automatic response. So, what you're going to do specifically when I say practice gratitude, you're going to recognize 5 things in your environment, whether it's physical, that you can see them, things that you can smell, things that you can feel. You're going to name 5 things. If they can be neutral things, even better, but you're practicing recognizing these things that you have right now in that moment in your life, which is a way of practicing gratitude. Name those 5 things. The sun is shining today with a smile on your face. It's not raining outside. These are all little gratitude practices. I have a roof over my head. 5 things you're going to name. You want to feel them, you want to visualize them, and you want to, if you can, attach emotion to them. The reason you want to practicing these 5 gratitude things or naming these 5 things is because you can't be both incredibly angry and super grateful at the same time. Our brains can't run both of those programs at the same time. And this is where consistency and getting consistent with following these steps, when you feel yourself starting to overreact, this is where consistency is going to help you rewire that pattern. It's going to help you reroute those loops, like I said, so that they're telling that part of your brain, the basal ganglia, to react differently. And it's going to start to react differently then. It's going to actually start to respond instead of react like you have been. This is all part of neuroplasticity. Made simple, neurons that fire together wire together. And the more that you can practice this reset, the stronger that new pathway is going to become. And the more you practice it and the stronger that new pathway becomes, that old pathway is eventually going to grow into weeds and be forgotten about, which helps the way that you have been reacting get weaker and weaker because you're not using that pathway anymore. You're using this new one with this reset method. It's kind of like when you go to do a workout at the gym. You don't build your muscle from doing one workout at the gym. You build your muscle by doing multiple workouts at the gym. This is the same way, it's just with your emotional muscle and not your physical muscle. So type build in the comments if you're ready to build your emotional muscle. When you can start reacting differently to these situations, it helps decrease the stress that you have in your life and you don't feel so overwhelmed. And that leads back to that cortisol that I was talking about, that stress hormone. And I can go on and about that in a different live. But when you can start reacting in a different, more healthy way, it's amazing how stress reduces in your life. And that's how you start to create more happiness. It's all because you're not reacting from fear or unworthiness anymore. You're starting to transform into this new person, and it starts with being able to reroute those pathways so that you're not overreacting. So I actually have a really simple graphic of these three steps that can help remind you to use them when you feel like you're going to start to overreact to something. I have a really simple graphic that I can share with you. If you would like that graphic to save in your phone or to put by your computer or wherever you need to put it to help remind you, comment reset and I'll send that graphic to you so that you can start using it to help reset your emotional muscle. And that's what I have for you. I hope you have a most wonderful rest of your day.